Many of you are asking me to do an updated list to my PENHALIGON'S video. I did a top 15 PENHALIGON'S video back in 2017, I believe. It could be 2018. Somewhere around there. It's been a long time. But I haven't updated a rank list for a long time, and I thought I'd put together a themed version of that video. So today I'm doing a top 10 masculine PENHALIGON'S fragrances video, and the fragrances in this list are either male targeted or unisex offerings that are masculine. So if you're curious to learn about some masculine offerings from the house of PENHALIGON'S, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about PENHALIGON'S, a British house that I've known about since the late 90s. In fact, I discovered them here in San Francisco in the late 90s over at Saks Fifth Avenue when they had a men's department store. There used to be two different ones, a regular store and then also the men's store, and that's where I first discovered them. And the bottles used to be really cute. They're still cute, like as you can see, it's really cute bottles, but they used to be not spray, so you can splash them on and things like that. Really fun offerings, and I've been a fan since then, but I feel like since they're under POUS, they keep cranking out fragrances and also discontinuing them. It's just like that you can't keep up. So it's like one fragrance comes out, 2 years later it's already discontinued because it's not performing well for them. So these big conglomerates do these things with these fragrances, especially this brand, because POUS also represents other brands like Louboutin and Comme des Garçons and things like that. Even Jean Paul Gaultier, Carolina Herrera, many brands. And I don't see that they're discontinuing fragrances so frequently. Recently also Byredo signed under POUS. Originally thought it was going to be L'Oreal. So let's see what happens with Byredo. But anyway, today I'm talking about masculine offerings from the house of PENHALIGON'S. Do let me know if you have a favorite fragrance from this house. Put a comment down so I can find out. And also let me know, when did you discover the brand? But before I get to the ranked list, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below. And also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So yeah, please do let me know if you have a favorite PENHALIGON'S fragrance. And also let me know when you discovered the brand. As I said, I discovered them in the late 90s and I've been a fan since then. And here is the first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. It's ENDYMION Concentrate at number 10. And the reason this is ranked here at number 10, I feel like it's a very mass release, even though I find it to be classy and, you know, kind of a dressy, gentlemanly offering. This, I believe, is a male-targeted release. It features notes of bergamot, suede, coffee, geranium, lavender, and leather. So basically it's a leathery aromatic fragrance experience, and that coffee kind of throws me off a little bit, but I feel like the combination works. It does work, just I don't find it to be that very much interesting. It's a pleasant wear. It's more of a fragrance that if you don't want to put a lot of thought into it, it's not daring or very, you know, too risque or something, and you know, it's a kind of a crowd pleaser, definitely something like this. And the leather in here, the suede and the leather, is definitely not the rough animalic kind of leather, so it's very wearable. So we're starting off with ENDYMION Concentrate at number 10. Now, moving on to number 9, it's OPUS 1870. So I reviewed this fragrance on the channel back in 2017, 2 years after I had relaunched a new channel. So this was a fairly new fragrance for me at that time, even though the fragrance was around for a while. But I do appreciate this particular fragrance, even though I still find it similar to the last one, not overly daring and things like that. It's a very easy wear fragrance, and it focuses on spices, incense, and yuzu, basically. So it's kind of a citrusy, kind of bitter, a little tart, and then of course it's got some incense to contrast against that with black pepper. Now I always say black pepper and incense kind of remind me of one another. I get black pepperiness from incense, I get incensiness from black pepper, so I feel like they work really wonderfully together. But OPUS 1870 is black pepper, yuzu, coriander, English clove rose, cinnamon, incense, cedarwood, Australian sandalwood, and musk. So eventually it does get woody, a little creamy in the dry down, because I find this to be, you know, very creamy and musky. But again, it's, for me, this one's all about that yuzu, the black pepper, and the incense. This is OPUS 1870 at number 9. Again, it's not, I feel like it's classy, but it's not a very daring fragrance. I feel like it does smell a little mass, if that makes sense, but definitely a great fragrance. Moving on to the next fragrance at number 8. This one might shock people. But I do have two of the HALFETIs on this list. We're starting off with the first one that I have on this list. It's HALFETI Leather. HALFETI Leather is a leathery take on the original HALFETI. I don't have the original HALFETI here because I find that to be a very unisex. Here though, with HALFETI Leather, it does kind of start leaning masculine, so it definitely has a masculine edge to it. This is basically a leathery fragrance experience with spices and fruits. It features leather, oud, incense, cardamom, prune, plum, cedar, patchouli, green notes, and rose. So they've carried over the rose from the original HALFETI here, but this to me is not a very rosy fragrance. You know, that rosiness is there, but I feel like there's a lot of other things going on. I feel like the rose takes a back seat and it's not the prominent note. For me, it's very leathery and also very oudy, along with the incense and the plumminess in here. So there's definitely that kind of like dried prune plum. Plums and prune plums are a little different, so prune plums have this kind of like dried fruitiness, kind of like dense sweetness, and you get that here contrasted with the leather. So HALFETI Leather at number 8. Don't worry, the other HALFETI is definitely further up on the top of the list. Moving on to, I believe this is a unisex offering, but to me this is masculine. This is BLENHEIM Bouquet at number 7. This is definitely a very tart, citrusy, very ice cold, you know, juicy but tart and sour and also spicy take on something like a very citrusy fragrance. So it's lemons, lime, pine, black pepper along with lavender. So you do pick up the spices of the black pepper. There's definitely a spiciness from the lavender, but also the aromatic, earthy, green, you know, herbal qualities as well. But you know, it's just a really juicy take on lemons and lime. And then there's that pine. The pine is definitely here. You can smell it. And to me also, the smell of the skin of the lime kind of has a pininess, if that makes sense to you guys. But definitely a great scent. It's very fresh, perfect summer scent. It's BLENHEIM Bouquet at number 7. If you don't know that one, do check it out. I feel like you're going to like it if you like tart fragrances. Moving on to the next fragrance at number 6, it's Terrible Teddy. This one right here, male offering. So the Portraits collection are split into two different sex fragrances. You've got the male fragrances, of course this is Terrible Teddy, and then you got female fragrances as well. And Terrible Teddy to me is 3 notes: leather, incense, and Ambroxan. And if you like the idea of Ambroxan with leather and incense, very dusty, very ambery, musky kind of a take on a very rough leathery fragrance, definitely check out Terrible Teddy. It does have a very chopped dusty woods experience along with lots of that kind of smoky incensey experience and leather. So I feel like if you know what the rhinoceros does, this is a rhinoceros, if they're like kind of running against the sand or dust or earth, there's this kind of like cloud of dust that they create. So this kind of wears like that dust, you know, that's in the air. So it's a very dusty offering, at least to me it is. Anyway, Terrible Teddy at number 6. Great scent created by Quinton Biche. Alright, moving on to number 5, and we're going to go back-to-back barbershop-y fragrances. First one is Sartorial, this one right here. I hope this is still, I didn't check, but this is a very popular fragrance for this house. I think it's still selling on the website. Sartorial to me is kind of like a modern take on Brut, the green bottle that, I think it was Fabergé? Was that the brand that the Brut was? Drawing a blank with it. But this to me reminds me of that. It's created by Bertrand Duchaffoul, one of the fragrances he created that did not get discontinued, but it's a great smell. It reminds me of my dad because he wore Brut back in the day. This is lavender, metallic notes, beeswax, oakmoss, aldehydes, honey, leathery. So definitely it does become leathery, and it's very honeyed against the lavender, the aromatic qualities of the lavender. There's a bit of metallic touch in here, and then you definitely have that oakmoss. But if you like the idea of a kind of a barbershop-y smell, definitely Sartorial. It's very, very classy. From PENHALIGON'S, created by Bertrand Duchaffoul at number 5. And then the next barbershop-y fragrance from this house is this most beautiful bottle. This is the Tragedy of Lord George. This to me is Alberto Moria's created fragrance, and I love this one because it's very woody and boozy as well. And then there's this kind of a shaving soap experience. So you definitely have the soapiness, you got the shaving kind of a smell. It's a really great contrast against the woods and the rum. There's also tonka beans here and some Ambrox. It's definitely a barbershop-y experience, like a fougere, but kind of a boozy take on a fougere. So the Tragedy of Lord George at number 4. Great looking bottle, love this bottle, but I highly recommend you put these bottles back in the boxes because my my caps are kind of going or turning or something. Alright, and next going to the Vetiver fragrance that came out from a couple of years ago. I think it came out in 2020. This is the Inimitable William Penhaligon, this one right here. So this is Sandalwood, Vetiver, Cedar, Bergamot, Jasmine, and Ambroxan. This one also is very woody and earthy, and again, very, very classy. A great Vetiver. It's a little soft. It's not very rough and kind of this kind of dark, meaty, hefty, rooty kind of a Vetiver. They've softened it up with the Jasmine here and the Bergamot note, which is a great smell. It's a really classy fragrance experience. That's why I got it here at number 3, because I really love the Vetiver in here. It's just not sharp and a rough Vetiver. It's just very, very beautiful to wear. So the Inimitable William Penhaligon at number 3, a great Vetiver, but very woody take on a men's fragrance with lots of Vetiver. And then the new one in my collection, I found a great deal on this at Saks. I was looking to buy it, and then I found it at Saks for 140 bucks. So I bought a bottle using Rakuten, and you know, I got 10% cash back on it as well. And you know, I'm really digging this particular fragrance. It does remind me of what's the brand? Acqua di Parma's Cipresso de Toscana a little bit, the cypress, because it's cypressy. But, you know, it's a little different because what I'm getting in here is a lot of cypress, and that cypress is what's reminding me of the Cipresso de Toscana, whereas that's a fresher fragrance. Here in this one, it's a little more deeper and richer, but it's pine, eucalyptus, ambroxan, musk, cypress, pink pepper. So it's spicy. It's definitely very, very woody. It's lots of green and aromatic touches in here as well. As you can see, it's a green juice right here. It's a beautiful green. And you know, that cypress, totally. It's right there. You can smell it. Cypress to me has a very, almost like herbal, a little coniferous, camphoric, but more herbal kind of a smell compared to something like pine and you know, cedar. Very unique smell. Hang out around some cypress trees and start smelling them so you can recognize the way it smells, and you can totally pick it out in here. So I find it to be very classy, and I love this bottle, as you can see right there. This is Sports Car Club from Penhaligon's at number 2. And then finally, my number 1 favorite fragrance, masculine offering from Penhaligon's, HALFETI Cedar. This to me is super delicious. Really, really great smelling fragrance. It is cedar. Cedar is definitely lots of woods, but this one to me is also boozy and fruity, and I love this combination, really do. It's a great combination. So also, you know, the feeling of autumn is in here as well. There's definitely that presence here. So it's cedar, there's Atlas cedar and Virginia cedar here. It's labdanum, dried fruits, rum, saffron, cinnamon, cardamom, minerals, and vanilla. So there's definitely a little bit of a holiday-ish vibe here, and also the idea of Thanksgiving, you know, late fall, autumn kind of a thing. It does come to play here, very much so with this particular fragrance, and it's become my number 1 in the HALFETI collection. Really has, and I absolutely love it. Christian Provenzano, the perfumer, has created a great fragrance, and I have become a very big fan of his fragrances. Not of his own line yet, although I do like his Patchouli, but this particular fragrance and a few others from other brands, Parisian from Fragrance du Bois, Octavian from Electimus, really been loving them. Anyway, HALFETI Cedar at number 1, check that out. It's really a great woody fragrance with booze and fruits and things like that. Anyway, that's my list today of my top 10 masculine offerings from the House of Penhaligon's. Again, as I said, some of these are male targeted, some are unisex, but I feel like they're masculine enough to be featured in this list. But let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Do you enjoy them? Do you like them? Maybe you hate them. Put a comment down so I can find out. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye. So the bonus fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today, I cannot find my bottle for the life of me. I don't know where the heck I've put it, but I think I stored it away because it is discontinued. I have a different place for discontinued fragrances. It is off of the Penhaligon's website, but this fragrance is still selling at discounters, so if you're a fan of a fragrance like this, snatch it up because it's going to be very rare very, very soon. It's a freshie created by Alberto Moria. It's Petitgrain, Mandarin Orange, and Patchouli, and this combination is really great. It does have kind of a traditional eau de cologne styling to it, but more with the kind of an amped up patchouli, and also very, very bitter green with the Petitgrain, and the sweetness of the Mandarin Orange is super delicious. The 3 notes together create other kind of accords. I feel like there's a little bit of a floral touch in there, more more like a citrus flowers and things like that, but it's a super delicious fragrance. Sadly, it's discontinued. As I said, PENHALIGON'S or their parent company POUS is discontinuing way too many fragrances. Or maybe they're just released as limited edition. I doubt it though. I doubt that they're doing limited editions for everything, because they've discontinued so many freaking fragrances. So many. Anyway, that's the last fragrance I'm talking about. Sorry I don't have the bottle. I have it. I've stored it away and I can't find it for the life of me. But either way, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good one and see you later. Bye-bye.